Salut les swing dancers, c'est Julien pour Blablaswing et aujourd'hui on est en présence de Agnès qui nous vient tout droit de Suède. So Agnès, can you introduce yourself and speaking about who you are?
Yeah, sure. My name is Agnes, or Agnès in French, or Agnes in Swedish. So you got 3 different pronunciations to choose from.
Yes.
And I'm a swing dancer. I've been doing Lindy Hop for 12 years, I think.
Wow.
On and off, maybe. But yeah, and I teach in my home scene since a long time. I teach a little bit internationally.
Yeah, I see that. And
yeah.
Where is your swing scene in Sweden?
Yeah, sure. I'm from Uppsala.
Yeah, okay. And is it far away from Stockholm?
No, it's really close.
Is the same area?
Yeah, it's about an hour with a car.
Okay, so you know as well the swing scene in Stockholm too?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes I do. I teach in Stockholm too sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the swing dance. We are here in Herräng.
Herräng.
The most old swing dance camp in the world.
Yeah.
And here the sensation that everything is done about jazz and swing and history. How have you discovered the swing dance?
Yeah, for me, it was not the music. Like, I know some people get into this dancing because of the music. I never listened to jazz or swing in my life before I discovered this dance. I actually started dancing a Swedish, it's not a folk dance, but Swedish dance called bugg.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard of it?
Here in Herräng, there is they are looking for people who know this dance and able to teach it. So maybe it's you.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. So I was dancing that for a couple of years, and in the Swedish competition scene, dance competition scene, they have like 5 different dances that go together. They compete at the same events, and it's bugg, boogie woogie, rock and roll, double bugg, which is one leader with 2 followers. Traditionally,
Oh.
actually, funny thing, I've seen also 2 leaders, 1 follower in one of those. But anyway, and the last one is Lindy Hop. It also goes at the same competition events. So when I was doing bugg, I was seeing some Lindy Hop here and there. And then I went to a taster class, and then I fell for it, for the dance, for the sensation of the dance, because I think it's unique in how it feels in my body when I dance Lindy Hop compared to other dances. There's something about the stretch and the connection that is a very, very addicting feeling for me.
I completely agree and understand.
Yeah.
And I see you're not just a dancer. You try to be a musician.
Yeah, it's very recent. I grew up singing, but always just in a choir. And then 6 months ago, I got inspired to try singing some jazz. And I was in Toulouse, in France, and I was staying with a friend of mine who's a professional musician, a swing musician, and he let me try playing a bunch of different instruments. And
This guy will be Maca.
yes, for sure. So anyway, I tried his trombone, and he taught me some basics, and I thought it was really fun. So when I got back home to Sweden, I bought a trombone.
Wow.
Yeah, so
A vocation.
I've been trying to learn the trombone for a couple of months now.
I've been told that it's the more difficult instrument when you have to blow on it. It's really hot, but for me, it's my favorite. I would like to learn it.
Yeah, it's so majestic, right?
Yeah. And when a band do a huge, powerful final, we hear a lot the trombone.
Yeah.
It's so powerful.
But I don't know if it's more difficult than any other instrument. It's just, I mean, all the instruments are different in a way. I think for a singer, the trombone might be a little bit easier because it's more intuitive. I mean, every time you move the slider, you move it like half a step, and then you can listen for if you're in the right pitch, and you can adjust it a little bit. And it's I think it's more similar to singing than the other instruments where you press buttons to make the different notes happen. But that's my impression right now, and I might change that when I get more experienced. I don't know, because I'm very new at playing the trombone.
Yeah, we will see that soon. So
yeah.
And do you feel it's a logical continuation to try to play an instrument after being a dancer? Is it the right way to continue to embrace the swing, jazz, and everything? Is it you have wake up one morning and wow, I want to play it?
For me, it was. I think I don't think it's necessarily that way for everyone, but for me, it's a way of understanding the music better. Because, as I said, I was never a big fan of swing music. Please, swing dancers of the world, don't kill me for this, but I didn't even listen to swing music when I was not dancing. Like in my free time, I never listened to swing music until, I don't know, like 2 years ago or something. 3 years? Oh, 3 years ago, yeah. And then I've started appreciating the music more and more. Like I was one of those dancers who just, didn't really care if it was a band or a DJ because I was just dancing. I was in it purely for the dancing. Mm-hmm. That was all I was doing. But a couple years ago, I started paying more attention to the bands, and I started sometimes standing by the stage just watching, learning how the different instruments sounded. Like 5 years ago, I couldn't tell the difference between what a trombone and a clarinet sounds like, or But I started learning which instruments, how they sound and how they look, and I like watching musicians when they are caught up in their playing and they're very in the moment. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Yeah. And I kind of also have Maka to thank for involving me in creating the music, because the first time I was in a jam was when I was in Toulouse, and it was he that encouraged me to join as well. So I was singing, and it really was not good, because I never sang jazz, and jazz is freaking difficult to sing compared to I don't know, choir or pop, or maybe it's just because I have a lot of experience singing those things but no experience singing jazz. But I thought, I'm a singer, I can sing, and I went up there and it just sounded like shit.
Yeah, it's not so easy.
No, but being a part of creating the music that I've been getting more and more interested in was a really intoxicating feeling. I was like, I'm actually a part of creating this. And it was very powerful for me, and I wanted to continue being a part of it. So I started practicing more my jazz singing, and then I picked up the trombone, and now I'm everywhere in all these jams in Hurring, even though I'm not very good yet. But I think this week I've been playing the trombone more than I've actually been dancing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's how we learn. It's really nice. I feel the fire inside all these things. It's really nice. Can we talk about your influences? You say that you listen to swing music very recently. What do you used to listen before, and now in swing music? What do you like? It could be Madonna or whatever.
Yeah, well, I've had some different musical phases. I've listened to a little bit of everything. Like I had a indie singer-songwriter phase. I've listened to some soul. I had a 80s rock phase. I still freaking love 80s rocks. And I had a power metal phase. Yeah. Nowadays I listen to a lot of dance hall and Afrobeats because I recently started taking some classes in those dance styles. Because I want to broaden my repertoire of what I can do with my body. And I like the music a lot, so I listen to that. And when it comes to swing, like when I got into listening to swing music, it was because of the live bands. So I listened more to contemporary bands that are playing today. In the beginning, I was watching, YouTube videos of bands having live performances, and especially bands that I had been seeing recently at different events.
Yeah, and the sound is more precise. You can clearly hear the rhythm more than the old recording.
Yeah, I mean, the sound quality is obviously better.
Yeah. Have you a few examples of modern swing band you like?
I mean, at first I listened to... So I discovered that my listening tastes and my dancing tastes were a little bit different. So at home I was listening to... I listened a lot to a band called Baby Soda. From New York, but and some other New Orleans bands a little bit, and then I was listening more to also a little bit of the older bands, and I'm going to be boring and say like I listened to Duke Ellington and Count Basie because that's exactly what I did. Yeah. And it sounds so unoriginal, but there's a reason everybody's listening to that, and it's because it's really, really good.
Yeah. You dance since a lot of years. You might done a lot of workshop, I suppose. What can you give some advice about some really good workshop you've done, and you could encourage the people to go there?
You mean like a good event, or?
Yeah, a good event.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Lindy Shock in Budapest, because I think partly the workshops are really good. It's one of the few events where I usually do take classes. And also the party vibe is just crazy. Yeah, but you have to be prepared for a week of no sleep if you're gonna do it all. If you're gonna both do classes and experience the parties, there's no time for sleeping. Yeah. So that's my favorite for classes.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And what do you notice some changing about 12 years ago and now about the swing scene, the swing dance scene? Is there some changing you notice?
That is a very interesting question. And yes, but it's also a little bit hard to put my finger on exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. And there are some, the changes can be both good or bad, right? Everything's evolving, but okay, so part is the sense of dress, the way people are dressing. I think these days it's a lot more vintage, like classy suits and stuff. And when I started 12 years ago, a lot of people were wearing jeans and a t-shirt or baggy pants, or
Yeah, baggy pants.
Yes, the UFO pants was an American brand that like everybody had.
I have few friends who still got it.
Yes. So the sense of style has, well, in my eyes, maybe, improved a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And also the discussions in the international community about like being inclusive and about respecting the roots and about gender equality and those discussions were not happening so much 12 years ago. Yeah, I feel like it's been mostly the past 5 or 6 years that has really been like major topics to talk about, which I think is a very good thing. We're making some progress, and of course it's difficult work, and there's a lot of feelings and opinions involved, but overall I think we're moving in a very good direction. And I don't know if you know this, but I recently started dancing kizomba and bachata and other couples dances, and it's very, very interesting comparing the social dance culture, if in kizomba, to the social dance culture in swing, for example, there's let's just say the swing community is very progressive in comparison on all those topics.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I didn't know the kizomba scene or bachata, but yeah, I have some representation.
Yeah. Let's just say they haven't even started on the equality discussions that we are having in the swing community.
Maybe you could be the one who bring the topic.
Oh, I plan to do that.
Yeah.
If I can get some more influence, so I can have a stronger voice in that community, I'm gonna do the work. Yeah, for sure.
Cool, thanks. We're about to finish. Maybe last word about I call them the Padawan of swing, the beginners. Can you give an advice for beginner swing dancer?
Yes.
Any advice?
Yes. Don't hold yourself back because you feel like you're not good enough. Just go for it. Fake it till you make it is real and it works. And the more you pretend like you're a good dancer and you have the attitude of a good dancer, the faster your progress is going to be. I think one of the most dangerous things is when you don't dare to go out there and you're dancing kind of small and you're like, because I'm not good enough, so nobody look at me. And I think that is really unhelpful, but also very natural instinct. So like, don't feel bad if you have this. I had it for a really, really long time. But the best thing you can do is just push yourself outside your comfort zone. That's where you grow.
Perfect, Fina. Thank you very much, Agnès.
Thank you for having
Bye-bye.
me. Bye.
Blablaswing.